Londinium, as it was known in Roman times, has for centuries, even millennia, been at the historic heart of the world. From castles to commerce to culture to art, music, and more. The sun has truly never set on the British Empire. This morning, we go exploring. Westminster Abbey, home to coronations and royal weddings, is one face of Britain, but there are many others. With Mark Phillips, we go in search of the real Britain.
It's easy to think you know what Britain's all about. It's about a small 92-year-old woman with a ready smile and a taste for big hats.
My lords, pray be seated.
Some of them really big. It's about two young men, one of them with a growing family, the other about to marry an American TV star. And if you watch much TV, it's also about the crown. The show, not the hat. And it's about big houses like Downton Abbey with lords and ladies.
Who pays for it? Oh, good. Let's talk about money.
And all the little people who fuss below stairs to serve them. And it's all more or less wrong. One of the things that people come here to do is they would just die. Life at the top of the British social food chain isn't what it used to be. Just ask Charles Gordon Lennox, also known as the 11th Duke of Richmond, the 11th Duke of Lennox, the 11th Duke of Aubigny, the 6th Duke of Gordon. All the titles in the world won't get your bleeding car to start. How fast do you need before you pop it? It may still sometimes take the help of the common folk to get the old 1934 AC Roadster and the show on the road, but a lot has changed around here. When people have an image of life near the top of the social scale in Britain, it tends to come from what they've seen on TV. Do you see yourself in that tradition?
I hope a lot more progressive than that.
Can you make a living as a duke these days?
Well, I don't think you can.
But you can try. And boy, do they try on the Duke's Goodwood estate that sprawls over 12,000 lush acres of southern England. The place has been in the family for 321 years, if you're counting. What the Duke's family counts are the pennies.
You know, to cut the lawn costs $500,000 a year or something. You know, how are we going to drive the revenue that's going to cover that?
The Queen was accompanied by the Duke
How?
and Duchess of Norfolk.
By turning what used to be a playground for aristocrats into a kind of sporting park with an aristocratic theme.
They're off. It's a Goodwood festival.
At the annual horse race meeting here, the finish line is really the bottom line.
30 ace drivers in Goodwood's News of the World.
The old car race track has been refurbished to its former glory and is driven by the income it provides. Quite good fun, this thing.
Yeah? It's quite a sweet little car.
Yeah. Other income comes from the old World War II airfield, now a private airport. And that's not even to mention the golf courses, Charles I, or the old mansion and its jaw-dropping art collection that tells more than 3 centuries of family history. This is part of the motivation for keeping a place like this going. You don't want to be the guy to mess it up at the end.
You don't want to be the one to mess it up. No, you're absolutely right.
And if Britain has changed at what used to be the top,
it's changed a lot. So there's a lot.
It's also changed at what used to be the bottom.
The only difference between white working class and Asian working class is that one of us loves chicken tikka masala and the other is Asian, all right? That's the only difference.
Are you white or Asian?
Tez Ilyas, whose family immigrated from Pakistan, is now an up-and-coming comedian who does a nice line in challenging what it means to be British today. Do you think that's a surprise to people who aren't from here, that Britain isn't the way that they perhaps think it is?
I think a lot of Americans understand Britain as well through our music, television and film. And in this country, we haven't been so good at representing our wider ethnic diversity as America has been.
Why is it that when Alex grows a beard, he's a sexy lumberjack, but when Tez grows a beard, you have to ask him questions?
The old stuff, the stiff upper lip stuff.
Not
all
all, all that's gone out the window.
The upstairs, downstairs thing.
No, all that's gone, yeah.
Too many stairs.
It's a lot. Think of Britain is a lot like America, just significantly smaller and with less guns.
Britain is becoming more like America. The numbers tell the story. Around 14% of the British population is now foreign-born. That's almost the identical percentage as the United States.
There's a famous bagel bakery here, but there used to be lots.
As historian Simon Schama says, immigration is not new. The East End of London, like the Lower East Side of New York, has seen waves of immigration for centuries. The signs are South Asian now, but before that, Jews, Irish, even French Huguenot Protestants fleeing persecution have come through here. In the post-World War II era, immigrants were recruited from the Caribbean to fill a labor shortage. And lately, they've come from Eastern Europe. Migrants from Poland now make up Britain's largest immigrant group.
It's very kind of serious for us. Whether you actually think of Britain as sort of permanently self-portrayed as white, middle or upper class, essentially a Britain kind of like a fly trapped in the amber, Downton Amber, really, you know, we can call it. And that's not healthy for any society at all. Britain's got to have a future.
But to do that, it has to understand its past. We spoke to Simon Schama in what was once a synagogue, now part of a museum of immigration and diversity, where Susie Symes is a trustee.
Jewish migrants. These were empty islands once, and people have been coming here for centuries.
If Buckingham Palace is part of the British story, you're saying this little house in the East End of London is just as much a part.
It's just as much a part as Buckingham Palace, and Buckingham Palace is just as much a home to migrant kings and queens over the years.
Understanding the past, dropping the myths, and adapting to have a future. Lessons the 11th Duke of Richmond has already learned.
Back to the house.